Hello and welcome back to the new video of this video series of performance testing. In this video, we are deep diving into the basics of test planning and design. So if you are testing a small website, a medium scale website or a very large enterprise website, the basics of test planning and you have to understand the test design. It's very crucial for your entire performance testing journey. So in this video, we will cover the entire test planning and how you have to design in a organization. If you're working for a big corporate, if you're a freelancer developer or a QA, you need to understand these basic test design techniques to be able to successfully perform the performance testing. So what we are going to cover in this video, we are going to cover that what test planning and design mean in performance testing, what are the key elements of a performance test plan, how to design effective performance test cases, common pitfall and best practices. This is a bonus for you all, so I will recommend you to stay till last of this video. Here you will get to know many of the things, and in this entire video I make sure that you become a pro in no time. So let's begin and not waste our time. So the very first topic which we are going to learn is what is test planning and performance testing. So a very classic definition, test planning is the process of defining what you are going to test, why, how and under what condition. It's a very simple thing to understand, not even a big deal. So basically test planning, it's just a process where you will understand that why you are doing the performance testing, how you will be doing the performance testing, and under what conditions you have to execute the performance testing. When I say why means you have to know that why are you performing a performance testing, because you need to understand that what is the breaking point of your system. The goal should be pretty much clear. And how you are testing, it means what tools you are using, what test scenarios you are testing, what APIs you are testing. You have to know under this how and under what condition. It means what load you are going to put on the system, what is the CPU, what is the RAM, and what is the memory usage. You need to understand the entire hardware configurations, right? We will get into these details integrity later in this video, but for now you need to have an overview that why test planning is important. What does it answer? It answers that what are our goals, what do we need to simulate, what tools and resources do we need, and when is the testing done. Timing is also very important, because when I used to work with my previous organization, we used to do the performance testing sometimes during the midday when the traffic was too high. And once we did the performance testing by 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. So there's a huge difference between the results, because during 8 p.m. and 9 p.m. the traffic is low. It means the performance will be faster, and when you are doing at a peak hour, that means the traffic is high, the performance will definitely degrade. That's a very simple common sense thing. Okay, let's move ahead. So a very important table which you need to understand, you can take the screenshot of this as well. What is the scope of the testing? It means what part of the system you will test. These all things you need to know before you actually start your performance testing. Okay, what part of the system you will test, what it means, what API you are testing, login API, you are testing checkout API, you are testing search API, what you are testing exactly, what is your objective. Specifically measure goals, you mean you want to measure that if 95% of your request is coming under 2 seconds or not. This can be one of your objective. What are the resources which you are using? You can use JMeter, K6, right? What are your entry and exit criteria? Very important, you need to learn this, or probably you need to just think about it, that when you will start your testing and when you will consider it as done. So typically what we do is, what I used to do, we used to have a 10 minutes of time, and in under 10 minutes of time, or let's say 5 minutes of time, all the threads are up, and after all the threads are up, you will be able to see a stable response in under 5 minutes. Because if you just stop it under 30 seconds, or if you just stop it under 1 minute, what happens, the performance start to increase till 2 3 minutes, 4 minutes, depending on your API. And after like a certain time, let's say 5 minutes, the performance will be stable. It means we need this stable one. We don't need this variable performance metrics. We need the stable performance metric. So we need to wait till a certain time, for example 5 minutes or 6 minutes, whatever you feel comfortable. so that we have a stable value, not a fluctuating value. This is very important. Risks and assumption. If server scaling fails, test may not reflect the real world behavior. So you have to understand that your server is auto scaling. Basically in Kubernetes you can do this configurations that your server is auto scaling or not. If not, you have to figure out how you can do this configurations. Anyways, when we will be learning JMeter, we are going to understand these things more in detail. So I will recommend you to stick to this entire series. Next topic is our test design, making your plan actionable. So basically, test design is all about translating the plan into concrete test cases, scenarios that run using the tool. So basically, test design, you can understand it like probably how you are going to, write your test cases. So for example, you are testing a login API. Okay. Now what are the test cases for the login API for performance testing? The test cases can be that our login should happen under 1 second. It can be a test case. What is the time taken? The other test cases, how many times it is failing, what is the accuracy. So these all test cases need to be drafted in a Google Sheet or whatever test data management tool you are using. Okay, think of it as a blueprint of a building. You move from planning what house will be to drawing the rooms and wiring. Everything you need to plan under this step. So for example, test scenario, 100 user logging in and browsing for 10 minutes. This can be your test case. User journey, login, browse product and add to cart. This can be your test case. Test data, what test data you are using, fake user credentials, product ID. You need to have certain product, you need to have certain credentials to test, right? What is a load pattern? Load pattern is important. This we will also see in detail when we are learning JMeter, but I'll give you an overview what is load pattern. So basically, for example, you are under JMeter. Okay, this is your JMeter. Now what you are going to do, for example, you are testing your API using 10 threads. Let's take an example of 10 threads. Now when I say 10 threads, I mean that there are 10 users. Threads is basically, you can consider it as users. So there are 10 users who are going to hit a certain API simultaneously. And how much, and depending on the API, is the API able to serve this 10 users or not? This is what we are going to find out. And this 10 users will not only hit this API once, it will keep on hitting this API whatever time you have decided, 5 minutes or 6 minutes. Until 6 minutes, this 10 user will keep on hitting this API. Now, when I say ramp up means I sometimes you don't want this all 10 users to hit the API at once. What you want is, let's say out of 10 I want to have 4 users, which is up, and I want 4 users to hit the API, and after 10 seconds or probably after 1 minute I want to increase the user from 4 to 6, and again after plus 1 minute 6 to 8 users, then again after plus 1 minute 8 to 10 users. So I am increasing the users one by one after every minute. This is called as ramp up. It helps us in testing a certain spike or something, right? Metrics map to the goal. What are the metrics? Response time you need error rate, you need throughput. This all we have discussed in our previous video. What is response time, what is throughput, and what is request latency. If not, you can check out the video as well. It's video number 3, I believe, in the same playlist. Alright, let's move ahead. So what are the tools and templates you can use? You can use Excel sheet, Google Sheet, or you can use any test management tool. You can use collaboration tools like Confluence or Jira. This type of table you can create. For example, for you are testing login. So for login, you have 50 users or 50 threads. You have tested for 10 minutes. What is the average response time? Less than 2 seconds. Okay, very good. This is the table that you need to create after you have done your testing. You are testing checkout, virtual users, so 20 threads, 15 minutes, error rate is less than 1%. This is how you can convey the data to your other stakeholders or your managers. Now, the last and the most important thing, what are the common mistakes and what are the best practices that is there and that you need to follow in entire performance testing journey. Testing too early without complete functionality. For example, the entire functionality or the entire website is not yet developed, but you are still testing. so you may not get the correct result. So you have to take care about this point, that you need to have the entire flow. For example, we just discussed, we were testing a user journey, like user will log in, user will browse product, and user will add to cart. For example, add to cart is still not developed or it is failing due to certain reason. Then do you think your performance testing will be successful? It will be not. You need to make sure that all the three steps are there and in place, working correctly. Second point, not having realistic scenario simulating 1000 login per second when only 100 expected. For example, you are just a startup, right? And a startup probably will have maximum 100 users per second logging in, and you are testing for 1000. Does it really make sense? No, it doesn't. So you have to take care about this point. Forgetting to sync with DevOps. You need to sync with DevOps to understand the environment, whether staging and production, they all are in the sync or not. This thing, exact thing we have discussed in our previous video, that we have two types of environment, staging and production. In staging, you need to mirror your production so that you can test exactly what is there in the production. Okay. Using production data directly can expose sensitive info, so you cannot use production data directly. And what are the best practices? Always use or always align with business KPI. You need to talk to business team before doing your performance testing. Product managers, involve stakeholders early. This will help you to avoid mistakes. Keep documentation simple but complete. Always test your test plan before executing a full load. So this is the final things that you need to take care about, and after this we will be starting with the JMeter tutorial from our next video. I hope you have learned from this video. If you have liked it, you can consider subscribing or liking based on your choice. Until then, I will see you in the next video. Until then, bye bye. Have a good day.